Hello everyone, this is Chase from Freak Shack Gaming, and today I have a very special video. We're going to take a look at a base that I built, a game that I built in Roblox that was based off of the control center from Halo 3's level Halo. I built this 10 years ago in 2011, and it was last updated in 2012. And I was seeing recently a lot of people were uploading videos of Halo games in Roblox, like Halo Infinite in Roblox, and I just wanted to share that this is something I did 10 years ago, that I had based this game, the fight at the Winter Stronghold. I built it 10 years ago based on Halo 3, so I just wanted to kind of give a quick tour of it, and I'm here in the Roblox studio so I can show you some of what it looks like. It took me a while. I didn't have the file anymore, so I had to actually log in and go into the studio to edit it. This is what my player used to look like 10 years ago, so that's cool. So the story of this base is that it was actually built for the purpose of this game, but a group called F.E.A.R decided that they wanted to use it as their fort, which you'll kind of see in the top here. And so I made two different versions of this map and gave one of them to the group that I was in at the time and kept one as my game. So a lot of stuff's going to be broken, I'm sure. This is a 10-year-old Roblox game. I guarantee most of this stuff probably does not work anymore. Looks like the gun still works, although it's terrible. It's like a laser. Wow. Okay. Then what's this? Oh, a sword with my clan logo. So that stuff's in there. So this is the first area of like a Forerunner structure that I had made. Basically kind of like Halo 3, you come down and you walk through like an unfinished part of the tunnel. So I based this off of the interior of the Halo 3 control center, and I think I did a pretty good job. It actually still looks pretty good for being 10 years old that I made this. Yeah, you can see all the little details I put in. I chose blue because it's fight at the Winter Stronghold, although I know that like it's a lot darker in Halo 3, which would be cool to see. And then this was the weapon shop. So here you could buy different weapons. So I have 630 cash. Let's see if it lets me buy the proton rifle. Used to work 10 years ago, so we'll see. So it says it dropped from the slot. I don't think it works anymore. That's unfortunate. So yeah, it's basically a weapons vending machine, and you would get money based on how you performed in the game, based on your captures and stuff, and you could redeem it for weapons at the 3 different weapon shops. But that doesn't work anymore. So that is very unfortunate. And then here's another sign kind of welcoming you, and here you get your first look at the Halo 3 control room that I repurposed in this game and built in Roblox. You know, the pyramid structure, the snowy landscapes. So now we're going to go ahead and run over there. Obviously it's not an exact replica of Halo 3, because that would just take a lot of time, and you know, this was 10 years ago. I was in junior high. So, you know, the terrain's not that great. I had better bases with terrain. I think I just dropped the ball on this one. I think I spent most of my time building the actual base here. And then right here is where the other team, the Frigid Federation, this is where they were located, and they got their own little weapons vending machine, and then you enter the pyramid here. So very much just like in Halo 3, you go all the way around, up the ramp, all the way around, up the ramp. Although as you can tell, it's very long. I mean, especially if I didn't have these run commands and you were just walking at normal pace in Roblox, it would take you forever. So I built it way too big. But at least including the run tool, I think I pretty much had to do that, because it was just impossible to get up there otherwise. and that's probably a reason it was never popular. It only had like 200 visits ever. So yeah, here's the first ramp. You can see I had like little light posts. Just try to do some futuristic looking stuff. And then you gotta go around again to the other side, just like in Halo. Obviously, if a lot of people were playing, and if this was ever popular, you might have people actually fighting, kind of like in Halo. And then you pass under, and then you reach the other side. Up ahead, you can see the flag that is used. That's the raid system, as we all called it. My group of friends that used this technology and like shared the scripts and stuff with each other. It was called the raid system. So the flag determined the winner. At the time, a lot of these Roblox war games, raids, clan wars and stuff that would go on back then, the military clans and all that. You would just kind of fight and then just kind of determine a winner, usually based on your KOs. So we developed a system for when it was basically for war bases, and I used it in this game. But any of my clan's bases, which was the Assassin Stealth League, ASL, which you can see the logo of down here, basically the way that you would determine the winner of a raid on your base was actually through the flag control system. So it was impartial. You couldn't just decide, oh yeah, we won. It was up to the raid control system. So basically you would capture the flag, and the amount of time that you held the flag kind of determined the winner. I don't know if that's really set up on this game anymore. I don't see like the GUI for that, so it probably does not function anymore. But here we are at the top of the pyramid, very much just like Halo 3, nice. It's a little bit more open than Halo 3, but you've got like the beams here and all that. So now we shall go inside. Okay, obviously the gate's broken, and it's not supposed to open that way. It used to completely open. So 10 years, things have stopped working, obviously. So the code for that, it used to open and split this bar. It would go to one side, and the gray piece would slide out. So here's the interior of the control center that I made in Halo 3. I am actually really impressed by the way that this looks still. It looks pretty good, and you can definitely tell that that's what it's inspired by, as a Halo game. Very Forerunner. I chose the blue, of course, like I said, because it was fight at the Winter Stronghold instead of the darker colors that were used in the game. Overall, this still looks very good. And there's another weapon shop. So obviously in Halo 3, when you get to this point, you would have a door that didn't open, and then you would go this way and around, and then eventually like this way into the control room. Didn't make it that complicated. I simplified it because of the base I made it for F.E.A.R. Fort Corellion. So I had to change it slightly. Let me guess. Yeah, I've got to run into the side here. It still doesn't work. So I simplified it. Here's the actual control room, just like in Halo. It's floating above a deep abyss. If I had redone it now, I would have made it like some fog down there or something, like dark and mysterious. But it's a big vaulted room, and basically you would just come around here and use the raid control system to capture the flag, which I'm sure does not work because I don't see the GUI for it. So you would input your flag controls, and then you would change the flag. And the reason it was so long is obviously the code itself, but also it gave you a chance to kill people that were trying to change the flag. Yeah, so it never doesn't look like anything happened. We'll have to see, but I don't think it worked. I think it's very broken. But I added like these pipes so it looked like it really was changing the flag outside. Oh, I just noticed that it is not touching the floor. It is actually hovering there. That is an oversight on my part. Oh, the things you notice 10 years later. Like how this room could have been better in general. But I still think it captures like the essence of a control room in Halo. Oh, it's on this side. I wish the gates worked still. And then having realistic lighting in here would have been cool. That wasn't really a thing in Roblox when I played. I don't know if it is yet. but there really wasn't a lot of realistic lighting that you could do. You could do a day-night cycle, but it would just get dark inside. You couldn't really have super realistic lighting. And then this was just a kind of like a council chamber, a meeting room. It's a leftover from when I converted it to a fort. I just kind of pulled all that stuff back over because it was more finished than this version. So it doesn't really make sense for the fight at the Winter Stronghold, but for the base it made sense because you could kind of have a meeting with all your clan members or whatever. And the ceilings here are quite vaulted. Basically just duplicated the bottom and then added some beams in, which is actually just this flooring part here. I just got rid of the glass, I believe. So that's what it looks like. If we go ahead and stop this test, there we go. I'm going to disable all these GUIs, which I did when I booted it up so I could actually see everything. I did a quick run through before I started recording. Didn't change anything though. And by the way, the whole Roblox studio, this is so much more complicated than 10 years ago. I would have to completely relearn this thing. But you can kind of see how I built it. I would have done the terrain way better. I had way better terrain that I'll show you because I did a few more Halo-inspired bases on Roblox 10 years ago as well. This is not one of the best terrains I had made. This is probably one of the worst ones, actually. You can see where I just kind of copied and pasted. Yeah, definitely not the best terrain work, but very similar to Halo. You know, you start in the snowy canyons and mountains, and then you drop into the valley with the chasm, with the pyramid, with the control center. So, oh, what's going on here? Oh, that's the pillar there. So I guess that's probably another oversight on my part, that should have been down a little more. And you can see how many different pieces this is. I just did a bunch of triangles. But I think it's a pretty good replica. And then here you can see some of the finer details, you know, that it's actually, you know, inside. It's not like flesh, so it just adds some depth and detail to it for Roblox back then. You have to really understand that 10 years ago, most people, and I'm sure still maybe to this day, but everything was still Lego. Everything just looked Lego. You could do the meshes like I did here, but no one was really doing that. Things just had all the breaks and the lines and the little round Lego pieces and stuff. And I was never a fan of that as a Roblox player, even 10 years ago in junior high. I wanted it to look like a real game. I did it more for like role playing and stuff. I had the war clans that I was in, and so I wanted to play like war games and, you know, lead a clan and lead people and have fun. I wasn't into the whole Lego thing. So when I built places, I tried to make it look as realistic as possible. So that's why you'll see that everything is still pretty smooth. Some stuff, either it stopped working or I just never meshed it together. I do remember the surfaces being smooth, so I think these are just updates to Roblox's game engine itself and some feature changes. So I do not remember. I guess that's not actually a line, that's just it didn't line up. But I don't remember it having a texture. It was completely smooth, like plastic before. These I would have done differently. They were supposed to be like little cool lights. Considering the fact that I had lighting effects here, sort of, I definitely probably could have done something better on that. But yeah, that's what I made. Like I said, I made it in 2011, and it's based off of Halo 3, and I just thought I would share that. You know, it's really cool, just the stuff that I was making all that time ago. And it's crazy to see how popular Roblox is now, because when I played it, it really wasn't that popular. I mean, there's millions of more players now than when I played it, so that kind of sucks, you know. If it had been popular when I played it, I bet I would have done way more stuff with it, but it just wasn't. I think that's more of a recent thing. So yeah, I just thought I'd show this that I made many years ago. That's based off of Halo 3.